Executive Summary. Polybius is a popular urban legend about the death toll of an alleged video game that haunted its player's life. Polybius is not proven to exist as there is no concrete proof of its existence. It is considered anonymous, and the playthrough was geometric patterns and colorful 3D shapes that are constantly and hypnotically addictive with ear audio hidden with subliminal messages on it, causing physical and mental detrimental side effects for the players. The harmful effects consist of triggering seizures, memory loss, blackouts, hallucinations, insomnia, driving the person to madness, and worse, it causes suicide and even sudden death. Video games will harm its players wrongly when played in no moderation. Excessive playing of video games leads to addiction. Gaming addicts experience similar withdrawal symptoms to alcohol and drug addiction. Boundless gaming affects the brain by being used in a constant state of hyperarousal and stimulation. Playing video games heavily affects the brain and mental health of a person. This case study will elaborate on how excessive playing video games heavily affects the brain and behavior of a person and the addiction video games causes to its player.
Urban legend game Polybius appeared out of nowhere in suburb around Portland, Oregon. Apparently, this arcade game featured geometric patterns and vibrant shape dancing over the screen that are interconnected with kaleidoscopic puzzle with subminimal message that can affect some player consciousness. Polybius is also described as an arcade game that can have a severe psychological impact as well as intense psychedelic and addictive effects on its player, causing them to be addicted to the game and enter trance-like conditions that result in memory loss, convulsion, blackout, and hallucinations. The existence of Polybius arcade in general has never been conclusively established, as there is no concrete proof of its existence. Therefore, video games have significant effect on the brain and behavior of their players. Despite the fact that Polybius is just a rumor that circulate, there have been several reports of players getting sick while playing arcade games. A 12-year-old gamer named Brian Mauro has a story outlined in registered Oregonian newspaper as suffering from stomach pain while playing the video game. Asteroids in Portland arcade. In an effort to surpass the previous record of highest score, it was discovered that Mauro had played the game non-stop for about 28 hours while also consuming Coca-Cola and orange juice for nourishment. Mauro then experiences terrible cramps and digestive issues, spent 2 days in bed, and only able to eat soup and is mentally exhausted from his unsuccessful attempt. Mauro is not only one who experiences this detrimental effect after excessively using video games. The same day, Beaverton, Oregon resident Michael Lopez, 14-year-old, has a migraine and threw up in the parking lot after playing Tempest for a long time. When video games are played without moderation, video games have the potential to harm their players and addiction develop from playing the excessively playing video games. Significant impact on person's brain and mental health.
It be an actual game that has psychological effects and can induce psychedelic effects to its player, but excessive use of video games and arcade games can have these effects. These people who suffered migraines and seizures, as well as people dying after playing video games, for those on our report, physical health problems were found to be associated with long-term video game activity. Most of them includes visual problems, musculoskeletal obesity, and epileptic seizures. People so immersed in playing video games. According to the study, people play video games for various reasons. Some are to be distracted from daily problems, enjoy socializing with people they develop social bonds with. Among the reasons why males play video games are for coping, social interactions, and competition. It's not the same among females. Concerning age differences, it was mixed result why people play video games, but it is found that younger gamers seem to be motivated to play video games for social interactions. Meanwhile, for some people, playing video games are self-satisfactory, as it was found in a study that playing video games is related to the brain's reward system and that gamers have increased activities to several areas in the cortical ventral basal circuit, which is a network that influences reward-seeking behavior. In addition, hippocampus, and amygdala, which are responsible for emotions and memory, also engage and have balanced activities and responses when the player is playing video games. An MRI study shows that when a player is active, the sign that the player is experiencing pain and fear, video games can calm down the amygdala, which means that video games allow players to state negative emotions and suppress them. In addition, playing video games has an impact on the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, attention, learning, reinforcement, and sensory motor integration. For example, is the reason from a study in 1998. It had shown that dopamine levels were high in the ventral striatum, which is responsible for motivation and reward. And from a similar study in 2011, it showed frequent gamers had increased gray matter in the left ventral striatum of their brains, an effect similar to what is present in the brains of gambling addicts, an implication that excessive video games are somehow related to addictions. Excessive use of video games are somehow related to addiction. We deny that video games can be addicting, especially with the knowledge of how it stimulates the brain of its player, with an addition of how it affects a person emotionally. Video games can also be really beneficial for its player, especially as it can function as an escape for the player's reality and negative emotion. But too much is always as bad as too little. Excessive gaming are associated with various negative psychological and physical effects. According to a study, it implies that poor skill performance can be associated with video games, as most of the time playing video games takes time away from studying and or completing homework for young people. Study in the US, it was found that as video games usage increases, students' performance have been decreasing. In addition, it was found that gamers tend to have poor mental health and cognitive functioning. They also display emotional difficulties and have poor impulse control. Furthermore, they have potential consequences of excessive use of video games, like lower psychosocial well-being, loneliness, psychosomatic problems, a decrease in academic achievement, stress, and maladaptive coping. Another study reveals that playing video games, especially has violence, can lead to behavioral issues, particularly in adolescence and young adulthood. Moreover, the authors argue that video games may be a risk factor for players emerging in adulthood, as video games reduce the amount of time and opportunities of a gamer to practice well-like behavior. Thus, it suggests that there is a negative correlation between excessive use of video games and psychological functioning, and may relate to dysfunctional coping strategies and poor school performance. Apart from this, it was concluded in an article of Journal of Personality and Social Psychology that video games provided a dangerous medium for adopting aggressive solutions to problems and argues that can cause short-term cognitive changes in the brain for planning aggressive thoughts and that long-term effects will be created if aggression scripts learned during playing video games are applied in real-life scenarios. In summary, playing video games can really be immersing that oneself can really lose itself within it. With an understanding of how it affects and stimulates the brain with how engrossing it is, it is important to keep in mind the negative side effects of video games. It cannot only affect the person's diet, physical health, but also the psychological and mental well-being of a person.
Here, on this part, we will tackle about the recommendation and implementation in using video games. First off, what impact do video games have on the brain? Your brain's reaction to video games will largely depend on the genre you choose to play. By engaging in some video game play, you can exercise your brain. You might be asked to think of a solution to a problem in some adventure games. It also enhances timing and hand-eye coordination in a variety of sports. For the implementation plan, we will be discussing about when a computer games can be useful for education and other concepts when implemented. When searching artificial intelligence, computer games as one of example of a system of application need to offer the best environments possible with complex stimuli and a variety of dynamic actors. Computer games also offer fundamental interactive cognitive models. However, it's important to take a constructive approach to the use of video games in the educational process. Although it is a difficult task, creating video games with educational component is thought to aid students in understanding their assignments. In addition to having fun, students can develop their cognitive and affective skills by solving problems, coming to conclusion, and cooperating with their friends. In addition to learning about the subject matter, students also develop their own personality.
Excessive playing of addictive and hypnotizing games may lead to symptoms and give unhealthy thinking patterns concerning self-expectations, belief, and habits that would cause suicidal feelings and in some cases, death. Furthermore, extreme playing games can be a source of stress relief, insomnia, aggressive behavior, violence, emotionally aggressive, and a waste of time. Addiction to video games may not have a good effect on physical and psychological. It also includes difficulties with paying attention, managing emotions, following directions, controlling impulses, and tolerating frustration. As per my assessment, playing addictive games may also increase some of our skills and abilities such as cognitive, problem-solving skills, hand-to-eye coordination, attention to detail, faster and more accurate decision-making. Despite of the fact that playing addictive games also gives positive effect, we better have a thorough studies before playing it so that we will know of what might be output after playing the games. To those who are addictive and wants to overcome the addiction, my advice is involve yourself in the one-on-one counseling with the psychiatrist and with your family in order to provide the appropriate tools and insights to manage your mental issues, such as anxiety and depression. Parents should be more careful with the time their children are exposed to electronic games. Adults should try to maintain an